Today, I'm going to be showing you how to rebuild a Quincy 325 head. Disassembly of a intake valve. This one's pre-loosened. As you can see, it's pretty nasty in here. You'll want to clean and sandblast these really good. You want to get yourself a flat piece of glass and some 320 grit sandpaper. It's kind of a minimum starting point. And you'll make a figure 8 pattern in order to lap the valve flat. You don't want any major nicks, cuts, or gouges. Like this would definitely be unacceptable. Huge cuts across the seat. Disassembly of a discharge valve. It's a 5/8 bolt. And that's it. Pretty simple. It definitely needs to be lapped. We use a figure 8 pattern, just like the intake valve. Until it's nice and shiny, no pits or scratches or dents or dings. And then the assembly will basically be the same. Spring, and then the disc. And then reassemble with the bolts. The next step is to assemble the head. We'll take a discharge valve and a crush washer. There's a sharp side and a kind of dull side. You want the sharp side down. It goes in the bottom. And then we set the valve on top. Next comes the valve hold down plate. And then a gasket. And the actual valve hold down itself. Make sure to remove this tightening stud. If you do not, it is possible to crack these in half or break these ears off, and that would be very, very bad. And then we bolt the valve hold down. There is a torque specification. Please see the manual. It does change on various different Quincy models. For expediency, I'm not going to torque today. We install this valve hold down after everything is tightened up. A little bit of anti-seize on these threads is definitely a help for disassembly in the future in case you need further maintenance. To install the intake assembly side, very similar. Install that copper crush washer, sharp side down. Next, we drop the valve in. Sometimes it can be a little fiddly to get it to sit flat. Next, you install these springs for the unloader and the unloader pins. We have this disc. It looks like a very, very thick washer. It goes on there like so. And then the piston housing. Next comes the gasket and the valve hold down. As with the discharge valve, you'll want to install the valve hold down bolts and torque them to the specification. Again, see the manual. At this step of the installation, you'll want to take this pin and make sure the entire assembly moves. If it's stuck, something is not lined up and you'll need to start over. We'll take this split bolt and tighten it down until it contacts the plate And we'll grab the special valve installation tool. That has a torque specification, also in the manual. We reinstall that. And then the unloader piston. There is a aluminum crush washer. Again, the sharp side down. Then we move on to the unloader tower. You may want to moisten that O-ring with a little bit of O-ring lube or some other appropriate silicone lubricant. Next comes the cap on the unloader tower. Make sure it is free. If it is not, you will have to step back and restack the tower. Diaphragm. The top of the mushroom head. And continue to bolt together.